Every year, our parent company, Nexstar Media Group, honors remarkable women and their influence in our community. Joining me today is one of the 2025 nominees, Dr. Valerie Wright, to tell us about the Collaborate card game she created with Ashley Ballhurst, who is also here. Welcome to ciLiving.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so what gave you the idea to create this game, Valerie?
Well, as nursing faculty, I teach nursing and I teach this concept about interprofessional education. And standard lecture can sometimes get boring. And so I don't like to just stand up and lecture. And so I like to create sort of innovative teaching strategies. The interprofessional education, or IPE, is one of the requirements that the AACN, which is sort of the overall organizational body over nursing, colleges of nursing, requires us to teach. And rightfully so, because it is best for patient care. So instead of just a boring lecture, I was able to collaborate, no pun intended, right, with Ashley to create the game, Collaborate, to teach the students about it.
All right, and so Ashley, can you tell me a little bit about the game itself?
Yeah, so the game starts off with a Who Am I round, where students or players are introduced to roles. So it's just a description of what they are, and then it's not for points. They turn it over, and then they're immediately introduced to the answer. And so after those are completed, then the students move on into the scenario rounds, where they take the knowledge that they learned in terms of what the roles of each healthcare provider, like what those roles are, and then they learn how to apply three-person teams in different scenarios.
Okay.
According to like the patient's needs.
All right, so we'll look at a scenario card right here. So I see on the front it has, is this a question? Or
Yes.
this is a scenario of something that could happen, and then this is what's on the back. What would the answer be?
Right.
Those are the answers.
Oh,
so
I see. So
essentially,
audiologists.
everyone has the roll cards.
Okay.
So if you want to pick up your roll cards.
Oh, I have my own.
Yeah, we won't do that scenario because you already know the answer.
Okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't want any cheating. So now we've got these scenarios. So there's up to 4 players.
Okay.
So we would read the scenario. So we have a patient coming in with routine cholesterol screening results with a high LDL and low HDL.
Okay.
Okay, you now have 20 seconds to
I
pick.
feel like you guys have the advantage, but I'm gonna do my best.
Okay, you have 20 seconds to pick your top 3 people.
Okay.
Just put them face down that
Okay.
you would want involved.
Okay, let's see. Well, and what if I don't have the person that I think it might be?
I promise you do.
Okay. Okay.
You have so many good choices. So
All right,
you could
let's
just
see.
pick 3.
Okay, I will pick 3.
So 3 providers that you want caring for this patient.
Okay, who has, this looks like
Some high cholesterol issues.
issues. All
Yep.
right. All right, I picked 3.
Okay. All right, so then the timer would go off.
Okay.
Mine went off a little sooner. We'll give you some grace
Yes,
there.
I appreciate the
Perfect.
little bit of the handicap there.
So we flip this over, and then we see
Oh my
who
goodness,
we have.
I think I got it right, you guys. My pictures match the pictures on
There we
this
go.
scenario card.
Nice job.
You beat me,
Proud of
actually.
myself.
Well, and ironically, so I said health educator, registered nurse, and provider.
Okay.
So you won.
You won that, so I won that round. Excellent.
Yeah.
I may need to change profession, everybody. All right, let's see if that was just beginner's luck or if I can do another one. This is actually very fun. What's next?
Okay, so we have a child that is coming in lack of health insurance to cover their children's back-to-school physicals and required immunizations.
Okay.
So who are the top 3 people you would want? So you've got someone with lack of health insurance to cover their children's back-to-school physicals and required immunizations.
Okay. This one's harder because there are a lot of different people. So some of the people that I'm looking at in my hand are dietitian, nurse, physical therapist, dental hygienist. So there's all different people in healthcare that could, all right. Chosen my 3.
Okay, so drum roll.
Look at the scenario card. Okay.
Okay,
Ooh.
so the answer is provider, registered nurse, and social worker.
All right, so I have provider, health educator, and social worker. So.
Nice. So you would get 2 points out of that.
All right, so 2 out of 3. I see, so you get 1 point per correct
Yes.
scenario.
Yep.
I see, okay.
There's no points to the negative, so if you missed one, you still only points to the positive.
And then what about these Who Am I cards? So these kind of like flashcards for learning, because you had mentioned earlier that lectures can kind of get a little bit, you know.
So if the students aren't familiar with the different disciplines, the Who Am I round is really sort of the warm-up round, like Ashley was saying, to get familiar with the different disciplines. So if you don't know who any of these people are, after the warm-up round, you do know.
Got it.
Because every one of the Who Am I cards matches a role card.
Amazing. Well, this is really incredible that you've created this that then ultimately people can learn from, but in a fun way. And I feel like this is a game that even if you're not studying to be a nurse, you could learn from this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've looked at it also in high school. So for classes that are teaching students about different health professions and what they might look like, they could play this game to learn more about it. Also, obviously in nursing school or things like that. And then even out in the practice setting. So if we're onboarding new staff, to teach them the importance of interprofessional education. And every one of the graphics in here, Ashley personally designed.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you guys are the designers and creators, but you actually sort of had a hand in the entire game design process.
Yep.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here, and congratulations again on your nomination.
Thank you so much.
And if you want more information, you can visit us on the web after the show at ciLiving.tv.